rain pounded against the cracked windshield of Marcus's old pickup truck like a relentless barrage of enemy fire, each drop a memory he couldn't outrun. He sat there in the deserted parking lot of a rundown roadside diner, somewhere off Highway 10 in the Arizona desert, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. The engine had long since cooled, but Marcus couldn't move, not after what had just happened inside. The 5 women, tough, leather-clad biker queens with tattoos snaking up their arms and smirks that cut like knives, had laughed at him. "Look at the old soldier boy," one had sneered, her voice dripping with mockery as she eyed his faded army jacket and the limp in his step from the ID that had taken half his squad in Afghanistan. "Bet he cries himself to sleep at night." The others joined in, their cackles echoing as they clinked beer bottles, turning his quiet attempt at a meal into a spectacle. But it wasn't their words that broke him, it was the flood they unleashed. Memories of his wife's letter, arriving in the dust of Kandahar. "I can't wait anymore, Marcus. The war took you before it even ended." Divorce papers followed. Then the VA denying his claims, friends drifting away, the nightmares that left him screaming in empty motel rooms. Now this. Tears streamed down his weathered face, hot and unbidden, as sobs racked his broad shoulders. "Why me?" he whispered to the storm. "What did I do to deserve this endless hell?" In that moment, Marcus felt utterly alone, a broken man staring into the abyss of his shattered soul, wondering if healing was just another lie the world told veterans like him. Marcus slammed the truck door behind him, the metallic thud echoing through the pouring rain like a gunshot. He couldn't stay in that diner, not with those 5 women still inside, their laughter ringing in his ears. "It didn't happen," he muttered to himself, wiping the rain. Or were they tears from his face? Just some drunk bikers blowing off steam doesn't mean anything. Denial wrapped around him like a familiar camouflage net, hiding the raw edges of his trauma. He revved the engine and peeled out onto the highway, the tires hydroplaning slightly, as if even the road rejected his escape. But the pain followed, insidious and unrelenting, as miles blurred by under the gray sky. Flashes of Afghanistan invaded his mind. The explosion that had ripped through his convoy, the screams of his brothers, in arms, the metallic tang of blood mixing with desert sand. He'd lost his best friend Jamal that day, shrapnel tearing him apart while Marcus dragged what was left to cover. "I should have been faster," he thought, his internal dialogue a constant loop of self-blame. Back home, the betrayal hit harder. His wife, Lena, had promised forever, but the deployments eroded her patience. "You're not the man I married," her letter said. "The war stole your heart." He denied it then, too buried himself in odd jobs, fixing bikes and cars in a small garage to avoid therapy sessions. "I'm fine," he'd tell the mirror each morning, ignoring the tremors in his hands. The storm forced him off the road at a dingy motel, the neon sign flickering vacancy like a mocking invitation. Checking in, he collapsed onto the sagging bed, but sleep brought no peace. Nightmares clawed at him, reliving the mocking in the diner, the women's faces morphing into Lena's, then into the ghosts of his fallen squad. He woke drenched in sweat, heart pounding. "Why does it hurt so much?" he whispered into the darkness. "They don't know me. Nobody does." Fate, or perhaps coincidence, intervened the next morning. As Marcus tinkered with his truck's engine in the motel lot, anything to keep his hands busy, he heard the roar of motorcycles. The 5 biker queens pulled up, their Harleys gleaming despite the mud. They called themselves the Desert Vipers. Jax, the leader with fiery red hair and a scar across her cheek. Mia, the quiet one with piercing blue eyes. Rosa, all curves and sharp wit. Lena, no, not his Lena, but Tasha, with her warm brown skin and infectious laugh. And Sky, the youngest, barely out of her teens, with a rebellious streak that hid deeper wounds. They spotted him immediately. "Hey, soldier boy, Jax called, straddling her bike. Truck trouble, or just life? Marcus stiffened, denial flaring. I'm good, don't need help from strangers. But pain twisted inside. Their mockery had reopened scars he thought scabbed over. Mia approached, her voice softer. We were assholes last night. Rough day on the road. Didn't mean to pile on. He waved her off, but inside, turmoil raged. Why apologize? You saw the truth. A broken vet. As the day wore on, a flat tire on Jax's bike forced an uneasy truce. Marcus, ever the mechanic at heart, offered tools from his kit. While he worked, small talk emerged. Rosa shared how she'd lost her brother to addiction after his own military stint. Denial's a bitch, she said, passing him a wrench. I pretended he was fine until the overdose. Marcus paused, pain mirroring in her eyes. Yeah, he admitted quietly. I deny everything. The war, the divorce. It all hurts too damn much to face. Interactions deepened as they waited for parts. Sky, the childlike one, sat cross-legged nearby, sketching in a notebook. My dad's a vet too, she confided. He pushes everyone away, says he's strong, but I see the pain. Her words pierced Marcus's denial like shrapnel. What if I'm just like him? He thought. A small victory came when he fixed the tire. Their thanks genuine. Tasha handed him a coffee, her touch lingering. You're more than what we saw, Marcus. For the first time in years, he felt a crack in his armor not healing yet, but the pain acknowledged, raw and real. The group invited him to ride with them to the next town. Reluctantly, he agreed, the highway stretching like a path through his turmoil. Internal monologues haunted him. This changes nothing. I'm still alone. But as they shared stories around a campfire that night, Jax opening up about her abusive ex, Mia about her orphan childhood, warmth seeped in. Pain connects us, Rosa said wisely. Marcus nodded, tears threatening. Denial faded slightly, replaced by the sting of vulnerability. It was a start, a slow unraveling in the desert's vast emptiness. The convoy of Harleys and Marcus's truck rumbled into Sedona, the red rock formations rising like ancient sentinels, mirroring the rugged landscape of his soul. Reflection hit Marcus like the morning sun, unavoidable, illuminating shadows he'd long ignored. What am I doing here? He pondered, glancing at the vipers riding ahead. The pain from the diner mockery had evolved. It wasn't just about their words anymore, but how they echoed his deeper losses. The war had taken his youth, Lena his trust, and society his dignity as a black veteran, often overlooked or stereotyped. Am I worthy of more? His internal voice questioned, a constant whisper amid the engine's hum. They camped at a scenic overlook, the stars a blanket overhead. Around the fire, mentors emerged in unlikely forms. Jax, with her battle-hardened wisdom, pulled Marcus aside. I mocked you because I saw myself tough exterior hiding a mess inside, lost my squad in a different war, the streets. Her story of gang violence and redemption sparked realization. Reflection's the hardest part, she said. Look back, but don't get stuck. Marcus stared into the flames, reflecting on his failures. I failed Jamal, failed Lena, failed myself. But Jax's hand on his shoulder brought warmth. Failure's not final, it's fuel. Small victories punctuated the journey. When a storm stranded them, Marcus taught Sky basic mechanics, her youthful enthusiasm infectious. You're like a dad I wish I had, she said, hugging him impulsively. The childlike gesture cracked his heart open. He realized he'd been denying joy, fearing loss. Maybe I can mentor someone, he thought, a spark of growth igniting. Interactions deepened with each viper. Mia, the quiet observer, shared late night talks under the stars. Pain isolates, but sharing heals. She murmured, revealing her own trauma from foster care. Her vulnerability mirrored his, leading to moments of realization. I'm not alone in this broken world. As days turned to weeks, the group bonded through shared adventures, hiking trails where Marcus's limp slowed him, but they waited patiently. Tasha, with her gentle spirit, walked beside him. Your strength isn't in your legs, Marcus. It's in your heart. Their conversations turned intimate. She confessed her own betrayal by a cheating partner. I mocked you out of my own hurt. Forgive me. He did, and in forgiving, reflected on self-forgiveness. I've carried this guilt too long, he admitted aloud for the first time. Reflection peaked during a visit to a veterans' memorial in a small town. Standing before the etched names, pain resurfaced, but now with purpose. Rosa, sensing his turmoil, stood silently beside him. Reflect on what they gave you, life lessons grow from it. Tears fell freely as Marcus traced Jamal's imagined name. I survived for a reason, he whispered. Internal dialogue shifted from why me to what now. Growth bloomed in subtle ways, joining their rides on a borrowed bike, laughing genuinely, opening up about PTSD nightmares. The Vipers listened, offering no judgments, only support. Romantic sparks kindled slowly, born of mutual healing. Each woman saw in Marcus a mirror of resilience. He saw in them strength he'd lost. Jax's fierce protection, Mia's quiet empathy, Rosa's witty comfort, Tasha's warm affection, Sky's vibrant hope. They complemented his fractured self. One night, under a full moon, confessions flowed. You've changed us, Jax said. No more mocking the wounded. We're all wounded. Marcus, transformed, proposed a wild idea. A polyamorous union, defying norms but fitting their unconventional bond. You've healed me, he said. Let me love you all. They agreed, becoming his brides in a desert ceremony, symbols of renewal. Marcus emerged renewed, embracing self-acceptance. I'm not defined by my scars, he thought, emotional peace settling like dawn. The journey taught him that healing wasn't linear, but a mosaic of struggles and victories, woven with others' threads. Moral of the story: in the depths of pain and denial, true healing begins when we confront our wounds with courage, allowing reflections from unexpected allies to guide us toward growth. Inner strength isn't forged in isolation, but in the vulnerable connections that remind us we are worthy of love, forgiveness, and renewal, no matter how broken we once felt.